So this is a quick overview of version 78 of SMT. So there are three main views to SMT. You have the region level view here, which shows how all the regions are connected. You have the universe view here, which is the 2D representation of the in-game map. And then you have the .land style view here on the side. So in addition to that, on the left here you have a zkill feed. So this is reading the all of the kill data from the zkill kill board, and then the intel. So this is read from the chat channels that you specify and is passed. On the right hand side you have the anom. So if you're running relics and data sites, you can keep track of them in here. You have a config for how the map looks if you want to change the colors of it. We have the characters tab, which we imported earlier. The jump bridges, again, we covered this one during the setup. Your active route, if you want to do some basic route mapping, it'll tell you what to do in here. And then we have the Thera stuff, so the Eve Scout data for the connections into and out of Thera. So in a little bit more detail, in the regions view here, you can see all the different regions, how they're connected. A couple things to look out for. You've got these green dots. These are the connections into Thera. So you can see here, if you hover over them, it'll tell you where they are. However, you can just double click on them. So I can see here in Genesis, there's a connection here in Lela into Thera itself. So the FGV signature will take you into Thera if you want. So if we can also double check that in here. You can see there, yeah, the signature to get into Thera from Lela is FGV, and if you're in Thera and you want to come out in it, it's the GJE signature. So other things, you can see the characters. So these little purple dots in the top corners shows that you have a character in that region. And then lastly, you've got the toolbox. So in the bottom right hand corner, you have the region level stats. So it kind of just totals all of the kills up and then scales them all relative to each other, so you can see which systems are active, or sorry, which regions are active. So we've got NPC kills, ship kills, pod kills, and those will basically tint them to be brighter. So surprise, surprise, some of our bright hot routing systems are out on the edge of the map, and then some of the high-sec systems. The last one is the standings view. So for this to work, you need an authenticated character selected in here. And this will basically total up all of the standings for that region. So I'm in Legacy, the character I'm selecting in Legacy. Also, you can see that the south of the map is blue, the north of the map is grey and red, and then HiSec is just white. So then up next is the universe view. So this is the 2D representation of the map. So you can see here it does the character tracking as well. It has the same stats as before, so with the same data slider, so you can do the, again, NPC kills, ship kills, pod kills, jumps. It has the data slider because some systems will overwhelm them. CJ is a very busy system. You can right click and have a look. It's got 4,333 jumps into it in the last hour, so obviously that's going to dwarf everything else. So other things you can do, you can right click and show the jump ranges. So if we're doing some jump freighter navigation, it'll highlight, you get the blue circle as the rough guideline, but then it'll highlight in yellow the systems are actually in range. Obviously this is a 2D map and it's a 3D world, so you get some edge systems that don't quite look right. You can have multiple of these up as well if you want, if you're just trying to find a route plan. So if I hire, let's try just this guy, it'll highlight the two circles. But it will also then additionally highlight systems that are in range of both. So if you're trying to do some basic navigation, you can use that one. Other things you can do, you can search for systems in here. I want to find where jitter is. It should hopefully find it for me. I can select that guy and it should navigate over. Yeah. Other things I can do if I want to switch to the .land style regions view, I can do that in here. I can just select the system and right click, show in regions, and that will take me to select the appropriate region and highlight that system for me. So you can see here it's highlighted Hakkinen as I did before, and I can go back from the same system. And then additionally, you can look at the open up the links to .lan and zkill for this, and it will bring up the appropriate page. So this is obviously the zkill for Hackenen, like we just selected, and then you do the same for .lan. Then onto the universe level view. So this one has a lot more info in it. So there's quite a few layers of data here. So first up, there's the kind of basics. You have the circles and squares. So a circle is the system. A square is a system that has a NPC station in it. Other things, you see some of them are tinted blue. That means they have an ice belt in them. So I can see here there's a couple of systems. Other things are these icons here. Now these ones here mean that there's a Jove observatory in there. So that means you can go and find the extra Jove wormholes if you're doing any hunting. Other things, you've got this brown patch here. That means there's an active incursion. I have the green highlight. That means there's a Thera connection. And then you have these kind of slightly darker ones. These are systems that are on the map, but they're not in the region. So underneath you can see here, it tells you the region they're in. But these are here just to show you, to help with the navigation. So some systems, some regions have chunks in the middle, and that's just how .lan had laid things out to give sort of easier navigation. So then the main chunk you have down here on the right hand corner is the different layers of data. So first one is the jump bridges. If we go into the ones we imported earlier, you can see them on the map. So these are the dotted lines here, so you have the jump bridges. Next up is the standings. So this is, depending on the character you've got selected here, now they have to be authenticated for this to work because it needs to read your alliance standings. So that will colour the map based on the standing of the person who owns it, or who owns the system. So if we look down in say Dell, we should see these are red and use the same colours in game. So red for -10, orange for -5, and then light blue for +5, and dark blue for +10. So next one is the SOV owner. So you can see underneath it's showing me the ticker of the owner of that system, and then you get a nice little key in the bottom right. So if you go to like a busy one, something like the Veil, you can see here that there are lots and lots and lots of different alliances in here. So if we want to say FAM, you can see they own these systems here. I can double click on this and it will open up a link to zkill, which is the for that region and that alliance I've just selected. So in here I can see all of the kills either of or by the FAM guys. And then get rid of that quickly. Right, so next up is the system security. Now this is tinting the systems the same color as they are in game. So obviously the closer to a +1 they are, they're blue, and then the closer to 0 they are is red, and obviously the orange is for low sec. If you select a null sec region, however, it is slightly different. So by default it tints towards true sec, so as it gets closer to true -1 they get darker and darker. So you can see these are traditionally your ratting pockets. If you don't like that, you can turn that off in the preferences. So if you go into region and universe and do show true sec, untick that, and it just uses the same red now as everywhere. So next one, this is new for this release, is the ADMs. So this will now color and add the ADM into the system. So you can see here which ones are the lower and higher ADMs. Then we go underneath that one and work our way across the other way. So we have the SOV timers. So depending on what you have set in your preferences, it will show either the iHub or TCU timer. So if we find one that's active, let's try here. No, we would find one. Here we go. Oh, there we go. So here we go in here. So we have it. What we'll do, we'll highlight systems here, so you can see these couple here are highlighted. So the darker outline means it's active now, and then the darker outline means it's active now, and the lighter ones, like these ones up here, means it's going to be active. So because I'm in the ADM mode, it will highlight any constellations for me. But looking at these, so I can see this one here, NDTAC is now vulnerable, whereas these ones up here, these ones are in white, these are going to be vulnerable. So if I can look at the clock here, it says my eve time is 15:48, and then on the timers here, they're going to be vulnerable in the next 10 minutes. Now that highlight is based on your preferences, so it defaults to 30 minutes. So if you look into SOV, and it's this upcoming timer period. So what I know now is anything that's highlighted in white will be vulnerable within that period. So the next four along the bottom, these are the data ones that are on the other maps. So we have the number of ratting kills, the number of ship kills, pod kills, jumps, etc. And then we've got the scale. What else have we got? We have these purple ones here. So this one here has got system in it. Now that means that there's been a kill registered on Zkill in the last 15 minutes. So if I filter this guy down, yeah, we can see here in RF tag X, there's been a few fraternity pilots killed. And then lastly, we'll just quickly cover the we can cover the navigation. So if we go to my guy here up in Esoteria, if I've selected the jump bridges and I enable in my route mapping to use the Ansiblex gates, what will happen is it will start doing routing with the gates in mind. So I turn the gates on. So for example, if I was going to travel down into Catch to one of our stagings down here, so it will calculate the route, and if I look here, it's telling me to basically to take the gate from DTAC P, and then we can follow it back. So if we look through, we go to Esoteria, I'm going to take the gate to C9, then I'm going to gate through manually through into impasse, then I'm going to go take this gate along here, and basically it cuts down the navigation. Other things you can do, if you hit copy on this, what that'll do is it will add to your your clipboard this text here. So this is basically all of the waypoints. Basically, I take one gate, then I set destination to the next gate, finally to a third gate, and then to the system itself. So it's only 4 actual waypoints I need for this, and it's a total of whatever that is, 15 or so jumps, rather than the I think it's 29 if you do it without it. So what you can do with this, if you paste this in, if you copy this and paste it into a note in game, all of these URLs will become in-game clickable links, and then you can share them with your fleet. And I think that is the whistle-stop cover of everything.